School of Management Studies, IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC-001 Management Functions and Organizational Processes for MBA program. Presenting Block 4, Organizational Processes, Unit-13, Managing Change, Part-2.
Forms of organizational change. Organizational experience evidences a number of ways in which organizations embrace change. Some of the popular forms of organizational changes are: Number 1. Organizational design and restructuring. Organizational design reflects the structural aspects of organization. It leads to the development of organizational structure with interrelated tasks, positions, units, and relations. This structure defines the way tasks are formally divided, grouped, and coordinated. Organizations follow different structures, but currently, due to the COVID pandemic, virtual organizational structures are being used. The IT industry is an excellent example of this structure, which allows a lot of flexibility in its operations. To manage change, organizations restructure and redesign their workplace in order to conduct their business. The work-from-home facility, use of advanced tools and techniques of technology by the organizations due to the current pandemic is an excellent demonstration of how workplaces have been redesigned and restructured. Number 2. Turnaround management. Management of change is and will continue to be a natural concern for most organizations in India. Due to various factors, both internal and external, like global competition, technological change, customer awareness, economic factors have demonstrated issues of a diverse nature. Further, the process of industrialization has resulted in industrial sickness, which had to be turned around. Turnaround management is one form of managing change used by the organizations in India. It is a recent phenomenon. When a weak company is acquired, it is subjected to turnaround management. Even when a sound and profitable company has been purchased, it is subjected to some form of turnaround management to realize the synergies so as to increase profit and shareholder value or market share. With cross-border acquisition, mergers, etc., turnaround has become a common form of change management. Turnaround has been popularly referred to as a recovery of the client performance, decline being relative to the benchmark like industry growth, GNP growth, or previous performance of the organization. Pradeep Khanwal, in his book entitled Turnaround Management, defined it as recovery to profitability from a loss situation. There is a broad spectrum of turnaround situations which might occur. The nature and urgency of the situation is influenced by key parameters which include: Number 1. The ownership structure of the company. Number 2. The urgency of the crisis. Number 3. Whether the company must radically cut cost. Number 4. The management team in place. Number 5. Whether the turnaround manager would be the CEO or not. Number 6. Whether he is assisted by an able team. Number 7. The degree of freedom given to him. Number 8. The time available to decide on priorities and actions. And number 9. The suitability of networks or tools used. Some of the classic examples include the Chrysler Corporation and General Motors. When Chrysler sold its defense division, the CEO of Chrysler, Lee Iacocca, did a turnaround situation and claimed profit to the company. In a similar way, GM offered Delphi, which employed 2 lakh employees in the manufacturing unit, retaining only a majority holding. This move made GM attain a turnaround situation. The recent amalgamation of banks in India with high NPAs into one unit is also an example of turnaround situation to realize the synergies and attain a profitable situation. Thus, turnaround has become the order of the day because of the corporate sickness and organizational decline. Number 3 is mergers and acquisitions. One of the successful ways of meeting the contingencies of organizations is restructuring. The current restructuring modes all over the world appear to be the phenomenon of mergers and acquisitions. Historically, mergers and acquisitions could be traced to the American businesses. A number of waves of merger activity occurred in the US, which evoked major activity and impacted the structure of American business, transforming medium-sized businesses to huge multinational corporations. Three types of mergers are evident. A horizontal merger occurs when two competitors combine. The HP and Compaq merger is a classic example of the horizontal merger. Vertical mergers are combinations of companies that do not compete but exist in the same supply chain and have a buyer-seller relationship. Any automobile company acquiring a company which sells auto parts to it can be an example for a vertical merger. A conglomerate merger occurs when companies are not competitors and do not have a buyer-seller relationship. For example, Reliance Industries Limited in India, which started off as a textile company, acquired many companies in different lines of business, and today it is into the retail, apparel, telecommunications, petrochemicals, energy, etc. The purpose of mergers and acquisitions in most organizations is to source supplies of raw material or an intermediary product to gain economies of purchase, revamping production facilities, market expansion and strategy, financial strength, improve the brand image, enhance its developmental plans, etc. A number of agencies, advisors, and experts help in the mergers and acquisitions process. Organizational experience has also seen a number of alternatives to mergers and acquisitions. Some of them are joint ventures, franchising, distributors and dealers, merchandise licensing, etc. The wave of consolidations, mergers, acquisitions, corporate restructuring has reached a record high in both the developed and developing countries. Number 4 is business process re-engineering. Improving business process is paramount for business to stay in competition. This has become a common trend in the last 2 decades. Business process re-engineering is a redesign of business processes, the associated systems, and organizational structures to achieve a dramatic improvement in business performance. The reasons for such changes include poor financial performance, external competition, and erosion of market share or emerging market opportunities. Strategy, processes, technology, organization, and culture are the 5 components of business that are targeted. Michael Hammer and James Champy defined business process re-engineering in their book entitled Re-engineering the Corporation as fundamental rethinking and radical redesign of business processes to bring about dramatic improvement in performance. They recommended a complete examination of the organizational processes from material acquisition, production, marketing, distribution, etc. Siemens is an excellent example of business process re-engineering. They have designed and implemented for business process re-engineering for profitability. Number 5 is total quality management. Total quality management is a management philosophy that seeks to integrate all organizational functions to focus on meeting customer needs and organizational objectives. Total quality management views an organization as a collection of processes. It maintains that organizations must strive to continuously improve these processes by incorporating the knowledge and experience of employees. The simple objective of total quality management is to do the right things right the first time, every time. Although originally applied to manufacturing operations, total quality management is now becoming to be recognized as a generic management tool applicable to the service and public sector organizations. The principles of total quality management include management commitment, employee empowerment, fact-based decision-making, continuous improvement, and customer focus. Organizations used total quality management as a powerful technique for unleashing employee creativity and potential, reducing bureaucracy and cost, improving service to the clients and the community. Thus, total quality management is being used by many organizations as an appropriate strategy for managing change. And the last is outsourcing. Outsourcing or contracting out is often defined as the delegation of non-core operations or jobs from internal production within a business to an external entity who specializes in that operation. It is a business decision that is often made to lower the cost and focus on competencies. It takes place when the organization transfers the ownership of a business process along with the transfer of control to an external entity or subcontractor. Call centers in China, India and Sri Lanka, etc. are an excellent example of the outsourcing activity across the world. Many companies outsourced customer support, call sector functions, manufacturing of parts and engineering services. Thus, organizations use different forms of managing change, although it is difficult to match a single approach to a particular company's need. The challenge lies in deciding which method to be used, when it can be used, and how the companies can pull it off successfully such that the bottom line business results are achieved. Evaluation of change. It is not enough if the organizations introduced different interventions and used different forms of managing change. Evaluation is critical for the success of the change initiative, design and implementation, especially when external consultants are involved in the process. Organizations use different strategies to evaluate change. Survey is the most popular strategy for obtaining data to evaluate change. Questionnaires, structured interviews, etc. are used to collect large volumes of data using survey. Organizations also use the case study method, which is a detailed, intensive method of collecting data about a single case. Interviews, observations, and analysis of related documents are used in a case study. Experimental strategy is also used to conduct experiments on individuals and groups by segregating them into the control group and the sample group. A comparison of the results would help in the evaluation of change. Longitudinal and cross-sectional strategies offer to evaluate change over a long period of time. The impact of change could be understood if data is collected over longer periods of time. In contrast, a cross-sectional perspective describes the incident of a particular phenomenon, such as skills possessed by managers in one organization at one particular time, etc. Data thus collected is analyzed and provided as a feedback in the evaluation research carried out by the organizations. Role of change agent. Change agents are crucial to the process of affecting planned changes. They can be internal like the CEO, managers, etc. or external like the consultants. The role of a change agent involves a technical role in which what needs to be changed, what tools to be used, and who should be involved in the process is decided. The inspirational role, on the other hand, involves the way in which the emotional barriers to change can be overcome, how the organization makes the processes exciting and rewarding, the ways in which heroes could be identified to sustain the change, and making the change process bring out the magic with every individual, every team, and the entire organization. Thus, the change agent is seen as a sponsor, a person who authorizes, sustains, and monitors the change process to ensure effective change management. Organization development. Organization development is about managing change in its multiple facets. One of the earliest definitions of organization development was given by Beckhard. According to him, and I quote, "Organization development is an effort, plan, and organization-wide managed from top to increase organizational effectiveness and health through planned intervention in the organization process using behavioral science knowledge." Unquote. Nielsen brought in the focus on people and the need for people to work together. He attempted to humanize the organization by facilitating better understanding of their colleagues, peers, and harmonious work relationships. Hence, organization development is any attempt to act as a catalyst to change the way people looked at themselves, others, or processes within the business and its sphere of influence in order to make the individual and organization more effective. In essence, the individual employee and his sphere of influence is the center of action. It is not just about classroom training or changing an existing process. It is about helping the individual to change himself and aspects of his role that would have a positive impact on the business. Organization development interventions. Organizations use training and development interventions for skill development and bringing about changes in the attitudes of people. Business leaders view training as a continuous activity and not a one-time event. Hence, whether it is development of an individual or an organization, they believe that it should start with planning and continue to take place with proper monitoring. Planning interventions. Beckhard emphasized the need for planning and development of people. The interventions that helped assess and develop future plans and strategies are: number 1, life and career planning. The contemporary business environment is dynamic and hence there are opportunities and risk as well. Because of these opportunities, skilled and competent people change jobs and even careers. The concept of single and stable career is a concept of the past. Learning new skills, including qualifications, has become common, and even organizations are responding to the career aspirations of employees through strategic and sustainable career management. Employee engagement and other HR practices are being developed in such a way that organizations are in the process of formulating innovative approaches to attract, retain, and develop the people through career development programs. Career counseling, career development, workshops, seminars, competency profiling and mapping, support services for individual professional development like certifications, formal degrees, along with coaching, career audit, etc. are some of the interventions for life and career planning. Number 2 is organization mirroring. A mirror is an object that reflects our image. Organizations spend a lot of time to improve their image. In this process, when a particular group seeks to identify and improve its image, it uses organizational mirroring. This process is used when a group identifies some difficulties in their functioning and hence would like to receive feedback from the other groups. In some instances, an outside consultant is also put in place to facilitate the process. The consultant or the organization development agent would collect data from the group to diagnose the problem and its intensity. A discussion then follows with the other members of the group to collect information of their feedback on the group, which has acted upon after seeking clarifications on the feedback provided. Action plans are drawn, target dates are set for the implementation of the action plan, which is reviewed and monitored for the planned change. The role of the consultant or the organization development agent assumes importance in making the entire exercise transparent and fulfilling. Number 3 is visioning. Visioning is used by organizations to take them forward. It is designed to create a preferred future state and images of their potential. Visioning helps to manage the organization strategically. Normally, this exercise is done to arrive at a vision, mission, and goals of an organization at the time of its inception, or it is also done to overhaul the dynamic changing organizations. Visioning helps the organization to stay focused, future-oriented, or motivate the individuals as it is arrived at based on the combined wisdom and knowledge of the organizational members. Number 4 is confrontation meetings. Richard Beckhard developed the confrontation meeting as a one-time meeting with different durations to identify problems and arrive at solutions from the group. These meetings are attended by the members of a single unit or the entire organization along with the top management. Problems are diagnosed against the backdrop of the organizational climate. Information is collected and shared to arrive at action plans to fix the problems, which are monitored and reviewed till the planned change takes place. This exercise helps management to understand the problems of units and facilitates the units to discuss their specific problems with the management. Number 5 is survey feedback. An organization uses survey feedback, which is a popular tool to collect large volumes of data from large organizations. The members give feedback on the performance of the organization, unit, and group to improve them. There are 3 stages which are normally used to collect the data. The design stage defines the need and objectives of the process, and then the members are briefed about the process and the data that needs to be given by them. At the implementation stage, several methods, questionnaire, interviews, etc. are deployed to collect the data. The data thus collected is analyzed into a report and shared with the group or unit or the organization. The action planning stage enables the leader to develop action plans based on the findings of the survey. Thus, survey feedback serves as a simple and popular method to collect data and act upon it. Number 6 is force field analysis. Kurt Lewin developed the force field analysis as a diagnostic technique to identify the variables involved in planning and implementing a program. According to Lewin, any situation will confront driving forces and restraining forces. Driving forces positively push the organization, while the restraining forces restrain the organization and pushes it in an undesirable direction. When the sum of driving forces and restraining forces become equal, an equilibrium is reached. This technique helps organizations to identify the need for change and evaluate alternative courses of action. Number 7 is cultural audit. Culture is viewed as shared beliefs, traditions, customs, stories of the organization. It denotes how the employees perceive the image of the organization and their role. A strong work culture improves the brand image of the organization and helps in attracting talent to achieve the competitive advantage. Since people join and leave the organization quite frequently, the culture gets impacted. Culture audits come in handy to diagnose the existing culture in the organization. The audit helps the organization to access the alignment of the decisions and actions of people with the organizational values and norms so that the desired culture could be put in place if deviations are found. Training interventions. Training interventions are oriented towards the employees in terms of the enhancement of their knowledge, skills, personality, and attitudes. There are a number of interventions which are people related. They are: number 1, education and training. Business environment is dynamic and presupposes the continuous and lifelong learning of the employees to improve their knowledge, skills, competencies, and the overall personality of the individual. On the one hand, there are formal education programs where organizations enter into MOUs with educational institutions to offer formal degrees so that the employee is oriented towards the appropriate content to do his job effectively. There are also training programs towards leadership development, improve interpersonal effectiveness, cross-cultural adaptation for different levels of employees. Organizations conduct in-house customized programs for groups of employees or nominate them to reputed educational training institutions for targeted training. Hands-on training is also given when new technology is put in place. In addition, a number of e-learning programs and courses or certifications online are also made available to the employees in terms of education and training. Number 2 is coaching. It is common for organizations to have executives holding important positions struggle with a number of challenges, thus needing coaching to guide them in their functioning. Most often, such training is based on experiential learning and is customized, aiming at the enhancement of the individual ability or capability. Number 3 is counseling. Like coaching, counseling is also an enabling process. The employee is put through the experiential learning process where he is encouraged to use intelligence and emotions to identify the problems and suggest appropriate solutions for both work and life. Counseling is extrinsic, where the individual is made to understand the problems through the recognition of the same, leading to a change in the attitude and behavior in a given situation. Depending on the situation, it can be remedial or preventive. The process helps the employees to cope with the stress and anxiety along with the built-in fear towards a change in the behavior of the employee. Formal counseling arrangement at the workplace for performance counseling is common in all the organizations. However, in situations like the recent pandemic, when people either lost their jobs or had to change their working style, Counseling was also done for the personal well-being of an individual. Number 4 is leadership development. Developing employees to take up leadership positions in the organization is also an intervention which organizations have been focusing on for quite a long time. They are expected to model their behavior so that their group also follows them to demonstrate desirable behavior. Number 5 is mentoring. The mentor-mentee relationship is also a common trend in the contemporary organizations. The leaders and the senior managers mentor their juniors in terms of improving their skills and competencies required for their functioning and career progression. Mentoring has assumed an important function where the contribution of the mentor in bringing about a change in the mentee's behavior is included in the performance assessment of the mentor. Mentoring involves a long-term relationship and also transparency with which the mentor and the mentee derive satisfaction of achieving success in the process. Number 6 is transactional analysis. Transactional analysis relates to an analysis of interpersonal communication. Eric Berne and Thomas Harris proposed transactional analysis by analyzing the transactions in different ego states. According to Berne, every individual functions in 3 ego states: child ego, adult ego, and parent ego state. According to him, transactions remain complementary if they are sent and received as intended. Transactions get crossed if the message or the behavior of an individual ego state is not in accordance with the expected ego state. They create interpersonal conflict in the organizations. According to him, the transactions that are usually carried on between 2 individuals, one with a parent ego state and responded to by another individual in a child ego state, get crossed. Finally, ulterior transactions involve 2 ego states and involves an ulterior motive with a hidden message between 2 individuals. Lack of transparency with the hidden agenda creates complex situations leading to interpersonal conflict. The ideal ego state, according to them, is to transact in an adult ego state which is rational, logical, and systematic, leading to complementary transactions between individuals. Number 7 is stroking. Eric Berne defines a stroke as a unit of human recognition. They can be positive and negative strokes. Small gestures of wishing somebody, a good word, a look, a smile, a nod reflecting support, etc. are all positive strokes. Negative strokes, on the other hand, reflect the bad feelings of the individual. More of negative stroking and negative feeling makes an individual have conflicts affecting the interpersonal relations. The current emphasis on looking at the positive side of every action and transaction helps the individual to be positive and contribute positively to the group and the organization. And last is life positions. Thomas Harris, in his book I'm Okay, You Are Okay, talks about the psychological state of the individuals. Training sessions are held through experiential analysis to understand the employee's psyche or the state of mind, and efforts are made to change from I'm not okay to I'm okay. In an organizational context, the managers and the leaders take the role of parents to tell them if they are okay or not okay. Employees would lose their confidence if they confront the negative strokes from the manager and gets into a negative life position. The role of managers and leaders thus assumes a significance in this context to promote the positive life positions for employees. Now let's summarize the unit. Change is the order of the day. Organizations have no choice other than embracing change. Organizations have to understand the nature of change, identify the key drivers to transit into the change mode smoothly, and manage change. It is but natural for people to resist change. Organizations need to strategize to overcome resistance. Organizational experience evidences a number of forms which have been used to maneuver and manage change. Since a lot of change is happening all around, evaluation is critical to measure the success of the change interventions. A number of tools, techniques, and strategies are available to evaluate change. The role of a change agent assumes importance to manage the change using a skillful and competent approach. In addition to react and respond to the change, organizations also attempt to undertake organization-wide changes to humanize the organization by facilitating a better understanding of colleagues and harmonious work relationships using the organization development approach. Planning and development of people and organizations is critical in the rapidly changing business environment. Thus, the organization development interventions are undertaken through the planning and training interventions to help individuals to do their jobs effectively and help organizations towards organizational transformation.
You were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies, IGNOU, for MBA program. Course code MMPC-001, Management Functions and Organizational Processes. Course Coordinator, Professor Srilata, School of Management Studies, IGNOU. Voice over by Harpreet Kaur. Edited by Tarannum Jahan. Program assisted by Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.